So I originally picked up the Fuji X-S20 to be a very capable travel camera in a small package. It shoots amazing photos and pretty much gives you everything you could ever want for video. But I'll be the first to admit that when it comes to street photography, I'm usually more inspired to pick up my XE4. Well, this past weekend, I spent a long weekend in New York, and I figured, you know what, the city provides more than enough inspiration. I don't need the ideal camera. I decided to take the XS20. Now, I didn't know what I was going to be running into, and I didn't want to carry around a whole bunch of lenses, so you may hate me for this, but I took the kit lens, the 18-55, which honestly is one of my favorite Fuji lenses. It may not be super aesthetically pleasing, but it's insanely practical, and I love the images that come out of it. In front of my lens and in front of all my Fuji lenses is a K&F Concept Black Mist filter at the 1/4 strength. These cheap little K&F concept filters, to me, and I don't pixel peep, look pretty incredible. So we're starting off our day in Dumbo, Brooklyn, and I thought it would be worth mentioning as we get into this video that I'm shooting everything JPEG only, straight out of camera. You'll be seeing a lot of black and white and a few color images. For details on the film simulations that I used, along with the full recipe, look to the description down below. Now, funny enough, I was actually there for my cousin's bachelor party, so I wasn't there for street photography alone. And this honestly provided a little bit of a challenge because I was walking with a group and not necessarily setting my own schedule. But it was a fun challenge at that, trying to be part of the group and being present while still finding little moments while walking around to steal photos while I could. I had my trusty Insta360 Go 3 on my chest, shot some POV stuff, and just had fun shooting some photo, which honestly is one of my favorite things to do these days. So I hope you enjoy. So we actually got really lucky while walking around and came upon a street Cypher, which is so cool. I've actually always wanted to shoot one of these ever since I saw Chris Chu do it in one of his videos, and you already know I had to stick around for a while.
Like my artist of war, give them time like my artist of sword. I ain't never had to stop. I'm really in my dreams. I kept on really going and they acting like they do. But mama's never I gotta relax and put me out the bed. And now what I gotta get going for, bro. I feel real good. Say that we had to come through straight rhyme that. I don't think they know where my mind's at. Before earlier we spitting it all over my tongue.
So this next set of images might just be my favorite, potentially from this entire video, especially this last one. I love how the two subjects are connected by the smoke as a leading line. Whew, just hits.
I'm not another bastard. I just told them all the pixies, so I'm totally up. With the old niggas make me feel like I'm off the rock. I'm told lots of rap. You see the one in front of you, but this two coming right for after you. Don't even understand. You act like you did, but we can see you. Kept on spinning the block to make cheese instead. I heard what you said. You got all that, I got you in the bed.
Well, that was truly awesome. And here are some images for the rest of the night where my Go 3 stopped recording. We ended up going back to the hotel and playing some poker with the boys, and I shot some images because why not, messed around with flash a little bit. I actually really like the way that some of these turned out. Anyways, for the next morning, we ended up making our way over to Little Island Park over in Hudson Yards.
Quando você sorriu, chorei, eu nunca pude isso fosse acontecer. E numa bola de cristal vi o futuro transformar e o que era bom ficou.
So I've always seen photos of this park and thought it would be cool to go, but kind of thought it would be a gimmick. I didn't expect to love it so much, to be honest. I feel like this park brings out something whimsical in me. Makes me feel like a kid again, which was really cool, and I'm glad we came. Afterwards, we hopped over to the pier next door, grabbed a bite to eat, and walked around, checked it out.
Passarinho da montanha quando chega, voou, voou. Que o vento leve logo em logo já. Que o vento leve logo em logo já. Que o vento leve logo.
So we've made it over to the High Line, and things, as you can see, are a little bit darker. So I'm using some slower shutter speeds and making for some interesting compositions, I think. I found this really cool window in the side of some scaffolding that just made an amazing view of the Empire State. I mean, check it out. Sure. So we somehow found ourselves in this shopping mall that was definitely closed, but it was kind of cold out, so we decided to walk through it and kind of enjoyed the eerie vibes. I also thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit about my feelings on shooting photos on this camera so far. To be honest, obviously, the images are great. I think it really provides for an excellent photo camera. But when comparing it to something like the Fuji X-S20 or the more film or photography focused bodies, there are definitely some downsides, mostly in the experience it brings and the inspiration you feel while shooting with the camera. Things like a soft shutter release really do make a difference. But the main thing for me that stood out above anything else was the tilty flippy screen versus the tilt up screen. And photography and street photography is the one time where I prefer to not have the flip out screen. Outside of that, it's honestly a great camera, and the battery life is way better than my X-S20. All right, so we're starting our last day in New York in Washington Square Park. Now, most of the time we've been here, it's been kind of cloudy and rainy. And today's the first day of
pretty solid sunshine. So I'm excited about that and to see how the photos turn out. So I thoroughly enjoyed myself shooting street photography on the XS20, but I know that's not going to necessarily make my choice between cameras any easier. And another thing that's not going to make it easier is the existence of the iPhone 16 Pro with how insanely good it is. And if you want to know just how good it is, check out this video I did, which was filmed entirely on the iPhone.